Filmmakers, welcome back to another episode of the Filmmakers Podcast. You expected the music to kick in there, but it's not, because this week we had to push our scheduled Business of Film special back by just a tiny bit as I am deep in the trenches of pre-production. But do not worry, we are not leaving you empty-handed, because we have dug deep into the archive to bring you an absolute fan favourite masterclass with one of the most energetic, brilliant and successful British directors working today. We are throwing it back to our incredible chat with the BAFTA-nominated director, Dexter Fletcher. Dexter started out in front of the camera as an actor before making the phenomenal leap to directing, helming massive global hits like Rocketman, Eddie the Eagle, Bohemian Rhapsody, and his recent action comedy, Ghosted. Now, you're probably going to hear all this in the actual intro, but I'm saying it again anyway. So get used to my voice. In this episode, we talk about the reality of making the leap from a scrappy indie debut, which he made Wild Bill, amazing film, to handling the insane pressure of massive studio tentpoles. Dexter drops absolute gold on how to pitch a vision, why he insists on rehearsal time, handing notes from the studio, and his approach to capturing massive action sequences. Really enjoyed this chat. It's timeless, brilliant conversation. Well, it's not that timeless because it was only 3 years ago that he came on, but you know what I mean. It's filled with energy and hard-won wisdom. And that's just me and Lucinda. So you wait for Dexter. So grab your coffees, get your notepads out, and please enjoy this blast from the past with the phenomenal Dexter Fletcher.
For picture, first positions, everyone, yo, go!
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 336 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to F it up, in our very, very humble opinion. I am Giles, Alderson. I'm a writer, director and a producer. And on today's show, we have Dexter Fletcher. Yeah, that's right. He is the director of the brand new Apple TV released film Ghosted, which stars Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Adrian Brody, Amy Sedaris, and with some amazing cameos that I'm not going to spoil here. Ghosted is an action-adventure comedy movie written by Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Dexter Fletcher, if you don't know, was an actor. Started off when he was very young making movies, but he's known especially for Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Guy Ritchie's amazing feature that put him onto the map, and all the boys in it as well. Dexter has gone on to make many, many feature films and TV as an actor, but we're here to talk about him as a director, writer and producer, and those credits include Wild Bill, his debut movie, which starred Charlie Creed Miles and Andy Serkis, and then he went on to direct Sunshine on Leith, which was a Scottish romantic musical. It was fantastic. Then he directed Eddie the Eagle, which starred Hugh Jackman and Taron Egerton, of course, with Christopher Walken in there. I love that movie, so brilliant. And then he was asked to replace Bryan Singer as the director on Bohemian Rhapsody, which he did, but he ended up getting an exec producer credit, as the DGA rules only allow one person to be the director of any said movie, which is sometimes unfair. He then directed the fantastic Rocketman, again starring Taron Egerton. It is brilliant fantasy musical drama based on the life of Elton John. If you've not seen it, you really need to see it. I'm sure you have. Those who are listening now, I'm sure you've seen Rocketman. Stunning, stunning movie, and it really put Dexter on the map as a director that is brilliantly capable of making amazing films. He then did a little bit of TV with The Offer. It's the mini-series making of Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. And now he has directed Ghosted. So myself and Dom Lenoir sat down with Dexter and had a rather lovely chat. Dexter talked all about pitching and why even now he still has to pitch and why it's a good thing. It talks about making your first film versus making a studio film. What's the difference? How you respond to notes and deal with pressure. He also talks about why directing is a lonely job and why he still has to work harder and harder, and gives you some amazing advice to go out there and make your films and TV as well. So thank you all so much, those who listened to last week's episode with Eben Bolter, the cinematographer of The Last of Us. We got some lovely comments on that. And we have, because we recorded for an hour and a half, there is quite a lot of bonus clips there on our Patreon page now. Go join it. Go support it. Support us and the podcast if you like this. Tell your friends for one thing. But then do go join the Patreon. There's some amazing bonus material on there. And it just helps us grow and makes us feel nice and warm and cuddly inside. So, that's it. I am making a fashion advert this week, which is pretty full on and fun. And games, as you can imagine. So, I don't know who next week's episode is right now. I'm probably going to sort all that out on Sunday. But right now, I'm going to play you the trailer for Ghosted, and then you get to listen to Dexter Fletcher. Enjoy.
I was just wondering if you wanted to, go out sometime.
You want to get a coffee?
Now?
Yes, now.
I'll just hang on.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be.
Her name is Sadie.
Who wakes up next to you?
I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I think she might be the one.
I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you.
She really is great. You'll see.
Any word?
She ghosted him.
I bet she isn't even seeing your text.
She does travel a lot for work.
Go to her.
I'm going to London.
See, you get it. It's a grand romantic gesture.
Yeah, that is amazing, mate. 5,000 miles to surprise a girl who you've only met once, especially if she's the one who ghosted you.
No, she didn't ghost me. She just doesn't have an international calling plan.
Oh, right.
Where am I?
Oh, God, you have the wrong guy?
I'm a former.
Wait.
Whoa.
You got me kidnapped and tortured all after one day. I saw the rock.
You're the one who flew to London.
It was a romantic gesture.
Did it never occur to you that he could be a foreign asset trying to compromise your mission?
I'm the boyfriend.
Do you trust me?
Is that a joke?
Hey, Dexter, how are you, mate?
Giles Anderson.
Alderson. Yeah, Alderson. I get Anderson all the time, be honest.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Oh, of course. You do look like a computer-generated Matrix type person.
Thank you. It's all written all over my face. It's the zeros and ones that pass it.
Yeah. That's why I'm so advanced.
Yes.
He does like to inhabit those zeros and ones.
Yeah, it is. It's the only way. This is Dom Lenoir. He's a fellow writer-director, like myself.
Hello.
Funny anecdote to start, actually. I once drove you at home, Dexter, on, I think it was when We Still Kill the Old Way, after the church scene many years ago. So there's a fun anecdote.
Must have been very enlightening driving me home all the way to East London.
That's the one.
It's a great story, the way you tell it. That is brilliant. You make that fantastic.
Oh, he does it every party, that one.
Yeah,
Pulls that one out.
I drove home once.
Yeah.
What happened? Nothing. I just
Nothing.
dropped him off.
Dropped him off. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was happy.
And that's when I had a gun that shot round the corner, if I remember.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And instead of getting out the car door, you climbed out the window. Anything, sunroof.
Sunroof, yeah. I actually squeezed myself down the exhaust.
Yep. It was quite a feat.
Literally, feet first. Lucinda Rhodes-Tackera, who you know, was supposed to be joining us on this one. Yeah, this is all our podcast. We do it together. We're all filmmakers and we chat, and she's one of us. And
lovely.
She's great. Her husband's ill, so she had to literally take him to the hospital right now. So wonderful Dom stepped in.
Okay. Well, yeah. I hope he's okay.
I do too.
I'm average at best, if I'm honest.
I meant her husband. I know you think everything.
I thought you were hitting with the jokes.
Well, we've got Russell. But no, we can make it about you, Dom. That's
exactly. Fine. I love how Dexter's already got your card, Dom. They straight away went, well, it's all about you. Thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate you taking time to chat.
Of course. No
really do. Like I say, this podcast is for filmmakers. We do it because we love to help other filmmakers as well. So it's all about advice and whatever you can give, within that time. But yeah, I really enjoyed Ghosted. We'll start there first.
Oh, you saw it?
I saw it. I got a screener sent to me.
Ooh, lucky you.
I know. It's not out till the 21st of April. In fact, when this drops, it's probably out by now.
Oh, okay, great.
On Apple TV Plus.
Everybody's seen it on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did, very much so. I thought the two leads were fantastic. Obviously, they're fantastic anyway.
They are pretty good.
You've added Amaris and... how do you pronounce... I always never know how to pronounce...
Ahmez. Chris Ahmez and Anna Evans.
Yeah, just mix them up. I'll put that in the show notes for you. Yeah, it works.
Anna de Ahmez, Chris Evans. Yeah, I think. That's what I was called her. She hasn't hit me yet, so it must be.
So
that's always a good sign.
It is. What a decent cast. Look, did this project Ghosted, did it come to you? Was it one of these that you developed for quite a while? It's a big studio movie as well. Brilliant action in there. Beautifully well directed, by the way. Some really lovely moments and movements with the camera, and really interesting to pull you in. It felt like a romantic comedy at first as well, and then it just...
the idea
that apart, really nice.
Working like that, that's the idea. I mean, it is a it's a sort of multi-layered question in a way, but the aim is to kind of wrong foot the audience, or just sort of lull them into a false sense of security, because there's so many tropes and kind of genre buttons that you can push that people go, oh, okay, I know where I'm at. Okay, how's this keeping me engaged? And then, all right, it all suddenly goes belly up. But how it originally came to me, I got sent a script through my agent in America, and I was working on a show called The Offer.
Love that, by the way. What a show that was.
Thank you. Yeah, that was good. That's a good show. That's a show well worth watching. So I was deeply ensconced. That was my first sort of LA kind of experience, really. I first time I'd shot there, so that was great, and that was ticking along. But then this came to my agent, and they were like, "You've got to take this very seriously. It's Chris Evans, and it's Skydance and Apple." And so I did, and I read it, and I just saw what I thought was a great opportunity to kind of flip things a bit and play around with, genre. And I do like Chris Evans. I think he's sort of underrated as a comedic actor. I've seen him some stuff that he's really made me laugh, and I like that. And so, he was on, and so I sat and chatted with him, or zoomed with him even, and I think they felt that because of my sensibility with like Rocketman and even Eddie the Eagle, they thought I was an interesting choice, so that was good for me. and then I had to, probably with several others, pitch my version of it.
You still had to pitch. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think they. I mean, it's a big budget. It's 150 plus. So although I'd made some sort of interesting, I'd not handled that kind of money before, and certainly not action at that level. Maybe a fight in a pub in Wild Bill, but other than that. So I had to sort of have some kind of sense of what I would do, rather than just giving me the money and let me run off into the hills. That'd be all right. Yeah, I suppose I could have done. No, it was good for me. It's a good thing to have to do, though, because you kind of make all these choices and decisions, or you start yourself on a creative road that you kind of adapt and either see through or completely change. But it gave them an idea in the sense of what I would do, and they loved that. And then they like, can you get out of directing the last 2 episodes and come and direct this?
Wow. So what was some of the sort of the choices that you wanted to pitch to them that was your like vision or your unique thing that you thought, okay, this is what's going to sell me the job, or this is what I can do that's unique to me? Well,
I saw it as a huge opportunity, aside from a really interesting dynamic in the relationship. That I found it was very funny that someone a very high achiever at work, i.e. de Armas's character, suddenly has this kind of spare fifth leg to a dog turn up. You know what I mean? It's like a real, and I found that funny, and I also found the idea of her finding it really annoying, very funny. And so I like that. So that I talked about that a lot, I suppose, but also talked about the globetrotting aspect of it. How do we make it really feel like this guy who's never been anywhere suddenly is seeing the world and how does he navigate through that? How does he suddenly start dealing with being in a market in a small village in Pakistan, or a mid-sized town in Pakistan, and so I suppose I talked about scale and vision and how I love to populate my projects with people, as many as I can, which drives them crazy because they cost money, time, and effort.
Production value, though.
Production value, exactly. And then I just made it I tried to make it as globe-trotting as I could. So I suppose I spoke about that, but also about how this story, to my mind, would be much harder to achieve if you kind of set this very real tone with the meet cute, as the Americans like to call it, and then go off into somewhere complete bananas in the action. So I wanted to keep the action rooted. So I spoke about Indiana Jones, the first chase when he's on the horse and he's chasing the truck and stuff like that, about how there feels like, Indy is making it up as he goes along. And I think that is the kind of charm and allure of that particular film, because unlike now, it's like everyone knows where the punch is coming from, and he never knows where the punch is coming from. And I think that's what hopefully can separate a bit of the action, that it's to not be ahead of it, to be in it, if you know what I mean. And so I spoke about that, and like Romancing the Stone as well, or even Midnight Run, or North by Northwest, someone completely mistaken for somebody else and just trying to figure out the fuck what's going on. I love that, someone. So I suppose I was talking about those sort of things, and Evans was like just bouncing up and down, because that's, that's what he wanted to do, was pull the rug from under Captain America, I think.
And it really does work. And really fascinating there, you mentioned a load of films from, 80s, maybe early 90s and previous, which kind of says a lot of these type of films don't often get made anymore. And I think that's really interesting, because I really like this film. I thought it was really fun. I liked the way it turned on its head, that you thought a certain character was going to be a certain way, and they weren't. And, and Chris to play that kind of a role where he's a bit useless, he doesn't know how to handle these situations, was fantastic and really fun. And the chemistry between the two of them was amazing. How did you handle... Because you said you hadn't done that much action except that punch in Wild Bill, etc. Though, to be fair, there's quite a few brilliant moments in a lot of your films where I would say there's a lot of action, though people might not say it's action. Right. But for Rocketman, for one, with all the dancing, there's so much action going on in there, the choreography of all that. But I get your point. This is very much explosions, punches, fight sequences. How did you find that? How did you navigate that? Because that is, like you say, it is different. You're dealing with stunt teams, you're dealing with stunt coordinators. Well, what was your process?
I suppose, that's where the crossover comes, is like with Rocketman, for example, and Eddie, to a degree, you have to lean into experts who know more about or know about it, and trust trust them. And so I found this second unit guy who I really like, called Garrett Warren, who has one eye and an eye patch and is, a bit crazy in the best way, sort of like every idea is possible kind of guy. And he works a lot with James Cameron, and he was out in Australia, I think, or shooting with Cameron. Anyway, I just loved him, and so I would give him a shopping list, as it were, of stuff that he would go and shoot up in second unit. But also we would devise pre-stunt vises, of certain moments, like on the jet and the bus was pre-vised, and that was a new world for me. So I was starting to see stuff before we committed to camera, so ideas could take shape and I could spend time with them. But it's like choreography with the dance numbers, that they go off and they choreograph, and you come and I don't know dance moves. What am I going to say? I'll make them do a jeté there. That'd be good if we could throw in a bit of fucking Running Man, or I don't know.
Yes, please.
It'd be like
a robot.
Yeah, a robot there. They'd be like, you what? So I can suggest musical styles and things that I like, or give equivalents of things that I would respond to. But then you kind of, it's a collaborative part of it. But I think it feels like that's part of my kind of background being an actor. You know, you're in an ensemble, you're in a collaborative process. So I'm all good for that. I mean, my favourite phrase is "I know what I don't know," you know, which means that I understand what other people do know, and I'm really happy to sit in the middle of that and look like. And just take all the glory.
Do you find it easy or a challenge in terms of trying to work the performances into all those stunts and all those, you know, those kind of choreographies?
I don't find it
because everyone's so focused, aren't they, on like, okay, we've got to do this move here, the camera's got to be here, safety. Like, does it kind of take care of itself because they're focused on what they're doing, or?
Yeah, I suppose there is a separation between them because that you go from a bit of dialogue into the action. I don't know. I didn't notice that being hard. I mean, I suppose the stunt stuff is hard when something's not working. You know, it has to be worked. And although it seems like it's meticulously worked out, you can get it on the set or on the day, and it don't work, and you have to pivot on that. But then you've got someone like Chris Evans who's really experienced, or Arnold, which is super game. I don't know. I think it was always in the fabric of this project. You know, it was always, you know, them on the bus arguing. It's just so integral to the whole thing of it that he's discovering this incredible woman who has depths and skills beyond anything that he ever imagined. So
it's kind of written into the material and how you're planning it, I suppose, as a whole.
Yeah, it was always in the previses that they would, you know, it was bad animation of characters up, you know, goldfishing, and then the dialogue written underneath. But I think it was really important that for this, I was saying about, because we're sort of in the action, not trying to be ahead of it, no one's anticipating things, kind of gave it an immediacy that works with that dialogue and if you know what I mean, that relationship building. I always want that those. It's like a dance number, you know. It's like a great friend of mine, Matthew Bourne, came and saw an early cut of Rocketman. He's a great choreographer, and he said about a particular piece, he's like, I don't know why that dance is happening. Why is it happening? And it's a really good question, because you go, oh, and there's a dance here, and so you put in a dance, but then you go, fuck, what motivates it? I know it's a musical, and people are going to sing and dance. And so it changed things a little bit, but I think it's got to be the same for the action as well. You know, why is she driving that fucking bus the way she's driving it?
I think you've hit on such an important point across like every aspect of film, which is motivation. I mean, like when I was learning to work with actors, like that was the big sort of realization, is if someone's doing something and there's no reason for it, and it feels like there's no reason for it, or if they're doing something in the story and there's no reason for it, that's when you lose your audience. If you can get the motivations and it's there at the right level, everything else falls into place.
Yeah, exactly. And people understand it on a very, you know, sort of human level, really instinctively, really quickly. It's just when it's like, but if you say you're going to call the police, you either do it or you don't. You know, I don't know. There's got to be something that, there's got to be clear. There's got to be clarity why. And actors want that. And I find that I do a lot of that groundwork first of all, so that when you get to the scene, you can concentrate on what's happening in the immediate. You don't have to talk about the backstory and how your dad didn't love you enough, or your mum, you know, smacked you for eating the strawberries or whatever, you know.
You don't want the DP to be stood there, or the camera person holding the camera, and you're there talking about, you know, what happened in 1939. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going, really? Right, you couldn't have done this earlier? You know what I mean?
Right, really?
With your big budgets? Yeah. Rehearsal?
Yeah. It's like, I need to get some lights, and where am I going to put them?
Yeah, exactly. How do you compare doing something as big as Ghosted when you go back to something like Wild Bill with your, you know, debut movie in that sense? How, you know, you're comparing the two, but yet would you still say it's the same thing but just on a bigger scale? How would you describe that for our listeners?
I mean, that's the most straightforward answer, but I suppose no, because the you know, to think about something like Wild Bill and the luxury of Wild Bill and making your first film, and I don't know if it's unique to my own experience. I suspect it isn't, but I had a movie that was pitched at a certain level, a certain price. Someone went and got me that money and went, here you go, you go do it. And I'd co-written it, and I'd got all my friends to be in it. There's not a person I don't know personally. And I kind of had an autonomy in a way that I've never experienced since, because those producers were very trusting, and I had this wealth of experience already behind me, and they were like, "It's your baby, it's your thing," and it was working. And long as things are working, you get support. You know, as long as the dailies are coming in and everyone's hitting it, and then things would fuck up and you'd pivot and make it work or whatever. So, and so that was good. But so as soon as you start working for a studio, because that wasn't for a studio, we made it and then sold it afterwards. That was the Universal bought it afterwards. But when they go, okay, you're doing a film for Fox, you got Fox's opinion, you've got all those things. And that's the big difference. Sure, the money can make things easy to be like, I want this there and then, and can we all fly out to Germany and look at a ski slope? Of course you can. And you can do all of that. But you're dealing with a tougher situation, more voices, more opinions.
It's interesting. I think a lot of our filmmakers who've come on this, and I felt the same way. You're never as free as your first film. You might be shitting yourself more than any other film, but you're never as free to just go, well, whatever happens, happens. And you don't realise it until it's too late.
You're like, this is great. Everyone, fantastic. This is really cool. I can just make the day really good. And then, no, absolutely. You don't have so many long nights of like looking at cinema like, fuck, what am I going to have to deal with tomorrow?
Yeah. How am I going to deal with that exactly? What am I going to say to respond to that situation? How am I going to get this part of the edit that I really want in to stay in? You know, all that kind of stuff. It's that sleepless night stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff that you can, that you've kind of got in your head. Now people are like, they want to see it before. They have to. The stakes are high. They're like, this is fucking millions of dollars. Good, you say, oh, I've got it sus. Don't worry. It's like, show us.
Is that part of your process when you sign on to a big movie like this? Is it you just sort of take it and you understand? All right, I'm working with Skydance. I'm working with another studios. Like, how is that okay? I'm going to have to take that as, or is it? Do you think about having those conversations up front and think, well, what's my process in the edit? How much am I giving away? That kind of deliberation.
I suppose you kind of, you just get wiser to it. I mean, hopefully you don't get jaded by it, but you just get wiser. Like, okay, maybe in the long, and you try, and I suppose if you can counter it early enough, if then you can save yourself trouble down the line. But there's always going to be something. There's what they call in America low-hanging fruit. There's something they're gonna go for, and it's like, oh man, and there's other things they go for that are massive, that are like, okay, you just sort of, and you just find ways of handling. As an actor, you're aiming to please everybody, which is a standard thing. But as a director, that's like, you got to please you and you alone for the greater good, which is a much more difficult thing to navigate around. You're going to be like, I'm telling you, this is the way to do it, and sometimes that can get borne out, and other times not.
It's having justifications ready, isn't it, to go with what your vision is and say, this is why this has to work, and you've got to be prepared and do your homework.
Yes, and also being able to counter the justifications that they're going to give you, because it's not like they're going to come to you and go, oh, I like it that way, or no, that's what I want. They're going to be like, we've looked at the data, we've looked at the algorithms, there'll be all sorts of stuff they're going to show you, or we know what we're talking about when we say this, that person cannot be that way. And you go, well, I think it's a risk and a gamble, we take it, and we, that ain't stuff they're going to want to hear. You have to have smart arguments to come back, which I don't always have. I respond emotionally, and then I go and talk to my clever wife and say, calm the fuck down. What do you want to achieve? What's important? I need that external voice as well.
That's interesting. Question I want to ask you is, how do you deal with those situations, the pressure situations? What is it you do? And it sounds like your wife is a brilliant help to you. But what is it when maybe you can't, and you're in the middle of it all, and something goes wrong, and you've got to just deal with the situation? How do you, as a director, go, right, I've just got to focus and get this done without shouting and screaming the place down? What's your process?
I'm not shouting and screaming. I step away. I take a glass of water. I try and work through the problem, and then ask myself what it is that they're trying to actually, what it undoes, and what the arguments for not allowing that to happen are. And you understand I'm going to be able to get it to a certain point, and either they're going to listen to that reason and that logic, or they're going to keep pushing it, and then you get into a different stage of it. It's like, okay, how do we test it? How do we put what you're saying up against what I'm saying, and see how it goes? But it's a lonely job. It's lonely, because at the end of the day, the decision comes down to you, and even the decision of like, okay, I'm going to let it go and lose this argument. That's a decision to be made, or I'm not going to, and then it can get taken away from you, the decision, which is really fucking hard. When the decision gets taken away, you're like, that's why I could imagine people completely lose their minds. I mean, there's certain things that you just can't win, but it's not for want of trying. You just have to take yourself out of the situation, because when you feel the emotion rising, that's counterproductive. It can't.
Taking time out is such a valuable thing. If you can wait till the next day to write that email, and that time allows you to, it's such a valuable thing, rather than like responding in the moment and getting caught up in it all.
Yeah, I agree.
I suppose the flip side is you've got these studios and they have got this wealth of knowledge, so it's an asset as well to be utilized.
No, exactly. It's not to say like only your ideas are good. That's what I'm saying. I know what I don't know. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm prepared to give that a try. I'm willing to take the argument on board.
Has your process with actors changed much from going from like Wild Bill up to something like this, in terms of like the prep, how you talk about the role maybe before you're shooting, those kinds of things, or is it kind of similar?
What the prep building up to these?
Like sort of character development and talking about the character, the rehearsals.
No, that evolves. Hopefully that evolves with you as you make bigger. You get into bigger canvases. It's an incredible experience, and as that experience gets bigger and more complex and more involved and allows you to expand your imagination and your vision, then you've got to be able to evolve with it, I think. And then otherwise, if you think you've got it all pegged, you'll probably end up in a sticky situation. No, that's part of the thrill of it. Is like there is no limit to it. And equally, I imagine even if you sort of choose to do something that's at a lower budget, you've got to be able to adjust as well to that. It's about being adjustable, I suppose. But I mean, look, the filmmaking essentially is like the combustion engine, isn't it? It's essentially the same process. It has been for 120 odd years. It's not. I mean, okay, now it's digital and now there's electric, but for a long time that process was the same. There's the core elements that are there. But every time it's different, because you're creating something new around those core elements. So I suppose I always feel like I've got to work harder, be more prepared, but work harder, because the opportunities are great and immeasurable.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
And for this film as well, you were talking about sort of spontaneity. Did you avoid doing much rehearsals and over talking about stuff? Or
No. But I think spontaneity can come through having a really good foundation of rehearsals. Look, that's going to give the freedom. As I say, like if you do all of that groundwork and that history before, you don't have to be talking about it on the day, like you were saying. That's you don't want to talk about it then. You build that character, and then you can be spontaneous, and you can say to Ana de Armas, ask him if he's comfortable when he sits in your lap, and it comes from a place that is really rooted in that character and becomes really funny. It's just a funny idea, a funny line that you can throw in, or they can say, I could say this here, that'd be great. And it gives you that freedom, and equally is like, we got nothing, let's rely on the script, let's do that, that's great, it was written for a reason, it's good, make it work. But impro is the hardest fucking thing in the world. It's the hardest thing in the world if you haven't got any foundation behind it, because the best improv is when you can just improv yourself, and you can't really improv yourself in a film because you're playing a character. It's really difficult. Thing that I grew up in doing with Anna Scherz, the impros there were great, but we were just playing ourselves, so that's why they were rooted in that and what we were experiencing ourselves.
Interesting.
You get that onto a set, and it's much more complicated, because here's a hat, here's a costume, here's a different character, here's an environment. And so I'm a little wary of it. But I do love spontaneity. I do love that.
Did you always know you were going to direct? Was it something? Because not, well-established actor with Lock, Stock, Layer Cake. For me, Press Gang was brilliant when I was a kid. Loved it. You were great in it. Was that? Did you even know back then? Was that you kind of going, I've got this itch to direct, or was it because you were just doing so many films? You're like, I can do this.
No.
Was there a moment?
I don't think I ever consciously. I felt maybe I was just sort of inadvertently or subconsciously skirting around the edges of it. And maybe it was. I mean, it really Wild Bill came about because I gave a producer a script who made the assumption that I wanted to direct it, and I just wanted to get it made. I'd just written it with a mate, and I just wanted to see it made. I wasn't like, here's this, and I'm going to direct. She just said, right, okay, and you're going to direct it. And I knew that when she asked that question, that to get it made, I had to say yes. So I said yeah, and I directed, acting workshops for many years with my older brother Graham, and we'd been doing that sort of in this very sort of offhand way. Every Monday we go to Jackson's Lane Community Centre with a bunch of mates and do acting workshops, and it was very haphazard. And we did it for years and years when we weren't getting much acting work. It was to keep ourselves going. So I suppose I'd been doing it in a way, but I'd never. And then once she said that about Bill, and she went and got the money, and then I thought, I could be this person, that person, and then I started thinking about it. Then it fucking caught me, and my cousin who worked at TV was a producer. I said, I got this thing about a housing estate, and she went, oh, there's an empty tower block in Newham that you can rent the whole floor.
Wow!
If you go and ask the Newham Film Council. So I just went there with my brother. Even before we really had anything in place, and they took us there and took us to the 19th floor of a tower block in Newham that overlooks the Olympic site. It was being built, and they said, "Oh yeah, you can have all 6 flats. You can use that as your production office, and that as that is your green room, and this is your changer, and that's." So I was like, "Fuck!" So that it became a fortuitous thing. So, and it overlooked the Olympic Stadium, which then became a metaphor for the film. Kind of formed it all. It was like this. And then I was like, I'm brilliant at this.
Well, it's a great debut, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've seen some debuts.
It's a classic,
it's a classic film. It's really good.
Oh,
yeah. And you were like, right. Honestly, was at that moment, though, where it wasn't like, oh, I'm brilliant at this, like you're mocking there. But of course, there's that moment of, I really love this.
Yes, that was the point. I really love it. And especially when I got George Richmond, the DOP, who could see it and tell me things that I'd never thought about. I was like, oh, there's a screen, there's a scene on the top of the roof where Bill's talking to his kid, he's caught him, and we scouted it all out, and it was beautiful up there. It was a beautiful clear day. We scouted it and went back. And then the day we came to shoot, the morning we came to shoot, it was really overcast, and there was mist. It was like, you couldn't see everything. I was like, it's fucked. And he was like, it's so good. I can't tell you how fucking brilliant it is. And now when I watch it, I was like, he's so right. It's great, the depth that it gives it, and the mysterious kind of nature of where they are. It's just those great things that you just learn along the way. Or he would just go off and do a shot from underneath a tower block that I would just come back and use and find. I learned more about transitions on that than anything. It's sort of like this word that is bandied around.
Talking of transitions, look, Rocketman. Well, before we we know you've got to move on. The transitions in Rocketman, some of this stuff is just delightful. Your one take stuff that certainly looks one take, steady cam dance numbers. Honestly, it blew my mind. I remember watching it in the cinema, just going, oh my god, that is good. It was just electric and beautiful. I take it you planned all that. Is that, and where did it come from to go, right, I'm gonna do it this way? Because people often didn't do musicals like that unless it was the old school, just wide shot dragging along. This is exciting.
I think that was it. I think I love musicals myself, and I watch them, and I do when I go back and see them, and I go, oh fuck, it's just, they've just locked it off, and here they go. And it's great. And there's there's a tradition of big long shots in musicals. We rehearse, and they could do it. And we reached for that. But also when I did Sunshine on Leith, I made conscious effort to deconstruct it there as well, because it was all set in a family home or just out in on a street and stuff like that. So I kind of borrowed from that, if you like. I sort of leant back into the finding the unusual ways to shoot the musical numbers there. There's not. So I don't know, but yeah, we did. We had the set. We had things laid out, and like some we knew were going to be big, long, connective transitions, and others were just people sitting around a dinner table, sort of singing about their inner voice. The great thing. My wife works in opera. She was like the aria is the inner voice. That's what the beautiful moment of the aria is in the opera, when the inner voice speaks, and it's not about the facade or the character you portray to the world. It's about what's going on inside, and that really unlocked a lot of things for me as well in terms of the musical. I try to treat it actually more a bit like an opera. Sounds a bit grandiose, but you know what I mean. That you're like, oh, we're not just like, hey, I'm happy and I'm moving around. It's sort of like, oh fuck, I'm her. So,
yes, yeah. Did you have to be careful about your choices? You were on a bit of a roll. Things were happening, moving forward from Sunshine on Leith. People were like, oh, guy, this guy actually can do it. It wasn't luck with his first film, Wild Bill.
Right.
Were you then going, I've got to be careful, got to think about what I'm doing with Eddie the Eagle, for instance, Hugh Jackman in there. It's again, Taron again.
Yeah.
But were you thinking at that point, it's my third film, I've got to really think about what I'm doing next?
Of course, yeah, you have to. But that's the second choice was the big one, really. That's why Sunshine on Leith was a good choice, because I went from that kitchen sink drama to a musical, although it's kind of kitchen sinky a bit as well. But I think it just made people go, oh, it's not all just gangsters and drugs and fights in pubs. It's heartfelt human stories, and again with Eddie, that was a really good opportunity. And what you have to consider is like, here's a good opportunity to work with some amazing people. Matthew Vaughn produced that film. Amazing. To have Matthew go, I've got this film with Taron. It's a biopic, and Hugh Jackman is going to be in it. So you're right. That's how do I make that work? You've got to, I'm not knocking out screenplays every weekend. I'm not doing that. I have to read them and go, how do I make this good? All I want to do is make it good. That's all I want. What do I watch it? Make it good. Don't outstay your welcome. Get the fuck out. Keep it entertaining. But that was then, But then Eddie bumps into Rocketman, because that, and I was already tied into Bohemian Rhapsody, because after Sunshine on Leith, they wanted me to do Bohemian Rhapsody, but it fell apart at Sony.
Right.
So then when they had trouble when it was at Fox. They at the front and said, will you come back and finish it? And Matt Vaughn went, yeah, go and do it. Go and see what they're doing. So I took a break from Rocketman.
What were some of the biggest challenges of moving from the UK industry to American industry? Because there's a lot of filmmakers over here that want to make that leap. Was there much different in terms of the way things work on set, the whole ethos?
Yeah, there is. There is. I mean, I don't know. It feels more like, okay, it's going to sound like maybe a crass thing to say, but in America it's more of a business, where in England it's a craft, and that's the only sort of how I can equate it. It's fine doing business. Business is great. You can, it's the pinnacle of it. It's who doesn't want to do it, but England, it's like, yeah, it's more of the craft element comes into it. Everyone's works their way to where they are. It's the same in America, but they're much more kind of like driving. They're bullish, I suppose, is the phrase. It's like when I was setting up on The Offer, I spoke to Al Ruddy, who's the producer of The Godfather, on the Academy Award, and he said, "Oh, hey kid, I heard you did that Bohemian Rhapsody," and I went, "Oh well, I helped them finish it. I helped out." And he went, "Oh, you're fucked in Hollywood." I said, why? He goes, listen to you. He said, you said I helped out on it when they were having trouble. If you was American, you'd be like, I fucking saved that movie. It was on its ass. It was fucking dying, and they needed someone, and I came in and saved it, and it won Oscars and made billions. That's what you got to say. And I was like, right. And that's the difference, because we're like, oh, no, no one gives a shit. In America, you go like, I fucking did it. But so that's what I do now. I just tell everyone I'm amazing.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that.
We could all learn to do that in England.
It's true. We struggle with it massively. Listen, they're literally telling us to wrap up. But found a bit of advice for filmmakers out there. So just that, what would you sort of say to them right now? I'm sure you get this boring question all the time, but we love it. So
it's hard. I mean, write it, and and I don't know. It's there to be enjoyed. It's really difficult because everyone's going to happen into it in their own way. But you got to work hard. I've acted for 40 years before I got my opportunity, so it's 40 years making. So I don't. It's not like I know it seems like it's easy, but I started at 6, and then it took me 40 years to get there. So it's going to be hard work, but you love it.
Keep going.
Do it. Yeah,
I love it. You're amazing. Next time I drive you home, I expect you to jump out the window and be on fire or something. All right?
I'll roll out the door, action style.
Yeah, action style. So we got a story, Dexter.
Exactly. Make it interesting.
Give Dom a story.
Dom, make me interesting.
Yeah, please. Say he did a speech from Hamlet or something. Exactly. Jesus Christ.
Well, I didn't tell all of the story, but that's for next time.
Thank you so much, buddy. All the best. Bye.
Awesome.
Bye. Thanks, gents. All right.
See you later. Bye.
Wow, that was Dexter. That was
disclaimer, because there was a little bit of confusion at the start when I came in. So my headphone jack was doing like complete digital noise, so I couldn't actually hear anything that Dexter was saying. So I was kind of
so you wait for him to be silent to then jump in with a question.
yeah. So there was a bit of confusion in terms of what was going on with Lucinda's situation and the anecdote, etc.
Throw that out there.
Just gonna throw that out there. I had like robot noise coming through my headphones, but hopefully it will make sense when I listen to it, because I didn't hear what he said.
I loved chatting to Dexter. I wanted him to get on for ages, and Lucinda's managed to sort that out. I think that's really
thanks,
cool.
Lucinda. Met Lucinda's dad yesterday at a screening as well.
There you go. Yeah, Martin Neely's screening of his short film. Yeah.
Shout out to Martin Neely.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to
Make Your Film alumni as well.
Yeah, speaking of which, I hope you enjoyed the Make Your Film event, the Filmmaking Podcast present Make Your Film event the other night
at London Independent Film Festival.
We will do another one soon, won't we? Yes, I'm sure we will. Look, I got so much out of that. I could have spoken to him for so much more, but what I really liked was him talking about pitching, even at his stage, you know. So you go from literally doing Rocketman, where you're the toast of the town, and you still got to pitch on movies. That says it all, right?
I like that in a way, because I feel like that's the kind of accountability that keeps directors like good and on their toes, like even when they do get famous, you know, and not become the sort of megalomaniacs that blow like, you know, billions of dollars on crazy films that haven't been thought out. So in a weird way, I think it'd be a nice thing to have to pitch, and like.
I agree. Well, you also then realise if you want to do it, getting a blank check on something, hey, come and do this £150 million movie, it does put a different mindset on it. Whereas you actually go, I'm going to pitch on this. Let me see if I can actually, how would I do it? And you get passionate about it. That's when you should be making the film.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. The nerves as well.
I agree. But I just found it fascinating. I didn't think that would be a thing for someone like Dexter Fletcher to still have to pitch on this kind of a movie. But he obviously did it well. I also really liked how he said it's a lonely job, you know, and
so lonely.
So lonely. And that going from an actor to a director, you know, how that felt for him. Great guy. Great. Listen, I've seen all his films. For some like director, and I just went through them before knowing he was coming on. Just went, oh God, I've seen them all. Yeah, and it's not that often you do someone as well established as that you have seen every single one of them.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's
just really cool guy, brilliant. You know, that British indie scene just blew it up with some absolute cool ass films.
It's that kind of British indie, fun, wacky, brilliant energy that's just been carried through into Hollywood, really.
Yeah,
and done a good job of it.
Very, very good job. It's interesting, isn't it? Quite a lot of the Lock, Stock gang. You know, still riding high, still doing really well, still making movies. A lot of them. It's a huge film, but still. All right, look. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. Thanks for jumping in last minute. Why not?
Five minute call.
5 minute call. You were literally called him up. Do you want to do a podcast with Dexter Fletcher? Oh, I could do. I've got stuff. I've got an edit to do. I've got this to do. When is it? 5 minutes. You went, yep, I'm in. So it's cool. It's Dexter. Right, we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm glad. Ghosted is out now on Apple Plus TV, on Apple TV Plus. It's brilliant. I really enjoyed this film. It's a proper throwback to those old 80s movies, and it's twisted. It's a flipped on its head premise as well. So definitely no damsel in distress in this film. I loved it. Well done,
Damsel
Dexter.
causing distress, you might say.
Yes, indeed. So, go out there, make your films. Be inspired by Dexter. Look what he did. You know, he went out there and wrote something with a pal, got it made, and look where he is now, making 150 million studio movies.
Yeah. Dollars, maybe.
You can do it too. And so can me and Dom. All right?
Yeah. Even us.
So, even us. So go out there, make your films, make it happen. And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well as Dexter has done, it is your duty to send the elevator back down. We will see you next Tuesday, as always, when our guest will be announced then on the podcast, because I don't know who it is, because recording this 2 weeks behind.
Could be anyone.
Could be anyone. Actually, could be anyone.
Could be you.
Could be you.
Imagine if it was.
Imagine if it was you. That would be weird, because you might not even know about it. I'll just call you up. Suddenly you're on the podcast.
You're on. Yeah.
It's you. Your time is now.
It's like basically like Squid Game.
Yeah. Right, till next Tuesday, everyone. Take care. Go make your films. Make it happen. Bye-bye. Bye, Tom.
Bye.
Bye, everyone else. Bye.